blah blah blah. My name is Count Justin Fangs, and I'm here to review Interview with a Vampire. Those are not going to stay in forever. I'm here today to review Interview with a Vampire. Isn't this makeup just so beautiful? I'm here with a special guest of LC Screen Talks, and he is going to give his part of Interview with a Vampire. Like Tyler Tompkins, I recently found him a few months ago and just really fell in love with his channel. He's a really great guy and loves talking about movies. So at the end of this video, go over and give him a like and subscribe to his channel. So LC Screen Talk, what did you think about Interview with the Vampire?
Hi everyone, I'm Larry. Thank you, Justin, for inviting me to participate in this Halloween series of movie reviews for Justin Watches Movies. Today we'll be discussing Interview with a Vampire. I'm just gonna start it off with, I love this movie. I rewatched it for the purpose of this review, but I've seen it a few times before, and I just love this film. For me, it accomplishes everything it seemingly sets out to be, and that is a high-quality, artistic, camp horror film. So it just kind of checks off all the boxes I need it to check off. First of all, it has a ton of gore. There's a lot of blood. It doesn't shy away from using the vampires as they're meant to be used. It doesn't shy away from actually showing the vampires and showing them in action, how they live, and I love that aspect of it. It's not like, you know, Twilight level of vampire romance. These vampires kill. They are mean, they are vicious, they have to survive off of the blood of humans, so I think that was wonderful. It's also a gorgeous movie. I think the cinematography is so amazing. The editing and direction of the film are fantastic. The costume designs are wonderful. I just think the entire art direction of the movie is beautiful. And it really creates a gothic atmosphere and tone to the entire film, which again adds to the horror element, but also adds to the more like romantic, sensual side of the film. And that kind of leads us into the whole campiness of the movie itself. I mean, let's just be honest, this is lightweight homoerotica, and it's wonderful. Obviously, we have Tom Cruise's Lestat running around, you know, basically charming and manipulating men into his web. And we have Brad Pitt, one of the men who kind of falls into his trap with his luscious, wonderful hair. I mean, Brad Pitt's hair, on point this entire film. But throughout the film, they kind of go through seducing people and enticing them into their web, whether to kill them or to transform them, whatever the case may be, for what they need at the moment. And I honestly think that is the best utilization of vampires in general. I think they are kind of like these seductive, sensual creatures that are also monsters. And this film portrays that maybe better than any other film I've seen. As for the cast, I know a lot of people have a problem with the cast, but I actually think for the most part the cast does a great job. Tom Cruise is really good at playing crazy, over-the-top, kind of psychotic, but also charming in a weird kind of way. Past just his, you know, obvious good looks, he is a charming guy, and I thought he really brought that to this film. Brad Pitt was probably the weakest of the cast members, but his character is also the one given the least to do, so can't fault him all that much, and I think he does what he needs to get done here. Kirsten Dunst is really good in this film. I think she kind of steals the show throughout. She just was wonderful. And then you have like Christian Slater and Antonio Banderas and a few other big names that are in here. They aren't really given that much to do, so you can't really blame them for not doing all that much, hey? But I think this film ultimately suffers from just being too long. It lasts too long without enough going on in the middle portions to really keep you enticed. It doesn't seduce the audience quite as well as the vampires in the film seduce their victims. And through that stretch, not only does it lose momentum storytelling, it loses momentum in the whole sexiness of the film, the whole atmosphere and aura of the film. There's only so much heavy lifting that cinematography and artistic direction can do when the writing just kind of slogs the whole movie to a screeching halt and keeps it there for a little bit too long. And ultimately, the story itself doesn't really have a direction, and thus the filmmakers didn't know how to overcome that, and they kind of lose their direction as well. But ultimately, I think Interview with the Vampire is sleek, and it's sexy, it is scary, it is gory, it is everything I want from a vampire movie. And I love it for pushing the edge without being like blatant in your face with the sexualization of these creatures, whether it be with man on man, woman on woman, man on woman, whatever way it went, it was never in your face. They just did it. But I appreciate the film for going there. So again, thanks Justin. I hope you all enjoy the video. And check out Interview with the Vampire this Halloween if you haven't already seen it. And if you have, go ahead and revisit. It's worth that 2nd, 3rd, 10th, 100th watch.
Thank you once again for being on my channel to talk about Interview with the Vampire. I was a little skeptical about checking out Interview with the Vampire. It stars Tom Cruise and Brad Pitt at a very young age, and I immediately thought of Twilight. These young, hot superstars, and they're in a vampire movie. Twilight. And so I was a little worried that it would be corny and melodramatic, over-the-top drama movie, and it wasn't that. It was a pretty good film. There is some flaws in this movie. I did like the aspect of the movie where Brad Pitt is being interviewed about his life, and the person really doesn't believe that he is a vampire, and he goes through his past and talks about how he met Tom Cruise and how he became a vampire and how he met Kirsten Dunst and all those other people that are in the movie. And I really think that the first act of this movie is really great. It is beautifully shot and has a great story to it. The movies we see about vampires is them wanting to suck your blood and blah 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 and just those cliche things. And yes, this whole movie does have those cliche vampire things, but what this movie does so well, that it tells the side of the vampire so well. You got these two different characters, one played by Tom Cruise who loves being a vampire and wants everybody to be vampires pretty much, and then you get Brad Pitt who was turned into a vampire by Tom Cruise, and he does not want to be a vampire. He wants to die and he hates his life. And it's a great relationship. It's unconventional at times with the vampire aspect to it. And I just love seeing the side of someone who does not want to be a vampire and pretty much was forced into it. Then there's the second act, and I got so used to seeing that relationship, that kind of love-hate relationship, mostly hate. And then we get introduced to Kirsten Dunst, who is a young girl in here where they turn her into a vampire, and she has an attitude at times, and it really changes the dynamics of the duo. And I did welcome Kirsten Dunst's presence at times, but I loved seeing just Tom Cruise and Brad Pitt, and it really changed the tone of the film. Then there was a third act, and it kind of just lost its steam and my interest in it all. We got a lot of more vampires and a lot of more drama and a lot of more storyline to it, and I think it was all bogged down. It lost its charm, it lost its unconventional story, and just the awe-inspiring moments. And it ended on a pretty corny note as well. So each act got a little less eventful, and I lost my interest after each act. I really liked the first act. I loved the tone, the characters, the relationship. Then the second and third act kind of lost its steam for me. If the whole movie was like the first act, this would have been an amazing movie. But it is still a pretty good movie. I am glad I finally checked it out. And I'm glad it's not like Twilight. My wife was doing my makeup and she said I look like an extra that couldn't be a Twilight. So I'm going to go ahead and give Interview with the Vampire a B. Thank you once again for LC Screen Talks to being on my channel here to discuss Interview with the Vampire. I hope we do some more collabs in the future. This is Just Watch Movies. Remember to go over to his channel, give him a like, and subscribe to his channel, and tell him that Justin sent you. This is Just Watch Movies, and you stay spooky, YouTube.